A few things you'll need to have is a car jack, car stands, a filter removal tool, a car chock, oil filter, some oil, I'm using Castrol 530, socket sets or a 14mm socket, something to collect the oil in, and a torque wrench. It's not necessary, but it helps. First thing you'll need to do is make sure your car's out of gear and you pull the handbrake up nice and tight. Top of the bonnet, it's located underneath the steering wheel. Chock your back wheel up so your car doesn't roll back. Gloves are important, they save a lot of cleanup later on. You'll need to jack up the front of your car and place the car stands at the front. Don't go using the jack that comes with the car. We don't want to hear about any stories about EVO owners getting crushed by their cars. Place something underneath the car so you don't get oil all over the ground. You want to start up your car and let it run for a bit. You want to let it warm up the oil so it drains out a lot more quicker, but you don't want to let your car run too long because oil can reach over 100 degrees Celsius and therefore it will burn you as it's draining. Put your oil tray underneath the sump plug underneath your car and remove the sump plug. While you're letting your oil drain out of your engine, you can check your water level. From here, this is high, there's low. You can top it up from here, and you can top it up from here, the top of the radiator. If you want to flush your whole radiator out, there's a little drain plug at the bottom. You can get to it from the bottom of the car. You can replace your air filter or clean your air filter. A standard air box is usually here on the right hand side of the vehicle. Open up the plastic box and just replace the filter. Now that most of the oil's drained out, you want to remove your oil filter. Unscrew it a little bit and let the oil drain out. Once most of it's drained out, unscrew the oil filter. When putting on the sump plug, make sure it goes on straight. You don't want to thread the threads. Tighten to 35 to 40 newtons of torque. You're meant to replace the washers every time you do this, but you can reuse them a couple times over. With the older washers, they just tend to leak a little bit more, so you got to tighten them a little bit more. On top of the oil filter, there's a rubber gasket. You'll need to put a thin line of oil along the top. This will help the installation of it. Once the rubber has touched the surface, you'll need to turn another 2/3 of a turn. The instructions are on the oil filter. Next, you'll need to fill up your engine with oil. These engines take between 4 to 5 litres depending on how much oil was left behind in your oil cooler. So start off with 4 and work your way up. You can check the oil level from the dipstick. When you pull it out, clean it off with a rag and then put it back in. Between the 2 dots of the dipstick is 1 litre of oil. The bottom dot means it's low and the top dot means it's full. Don't exceed the top dot nor go below the low. You should always fill it up to a full. If you need more oil, just pour some more in. Let the oil sit for about 30 seconds before you test the level. Make sure the vehicle is straight. After filling up your car with oil, check the bottom of your car to make sure there's no leaking oil. If there's not, lower your car and you're good to go.